Welcome to Legends Never Die. I am your host, the Legend Crosby. Got a lot to get into in the sports world today. Let's get into it. NBA draft was yesterday. Anybody watch? How do you think your team did? Wasn't too exciting for me. It seems like everybody went to where they were supposed to go. I think the one thing that was funny, what we'll talk about later, is the big man Alexei, who's coming over from overseas. Big 7-footer, but we will talk about that momentarily. Big news of the day. Klay Thompson is down, ladies and gentlemen. Klay Thompson is down. He's down. He's down. Apparently, he was in LA playing some ball with some ex-NBA players, some current NBA players, and has torn his Achilles. He will unfortunately be out for the entirety of this upcoming season. That is just a shame. The guy just came off an ACL tear, and now we're right back on the bench. So get well soon, Klay. Hopefully you come back just as good as you were in the past. Tim Hardaway Jr. has exercised his $19 million option to stay with the Dallas Mavericks. This is a great pickup because I don't know if you guys have heard, but Kristaps Porzingis is going to miss the first part of the season due to his surgery. Now, he injured himself in the bubble back in August, but he didn't have his surgery until October. Makes me wonder what took so long to get him under the knife, but it isn't my body. You got to do your own thing. Totally understand that, but that's a big pickup for Dallas to keep Tim Hardaway Jr. Nonetheless, they did make a move, which I wasn't too excited about. They have sent Seth Curry, the brother of Steph Curry, packing. Unfortunately, it's a good thing for him. I think it's a bad thing for Dallas. Dallas has sent him on over to Philly. Philly just keeps making moves. Ever since Daryl Morey got there, Philly just keeps making move after move after move. But yet they've sent Josh Richardson and the 36th pick from last night's draft over to Dallas for that Seth Curry pickup. That's a huge play for Philly. Doc Rivers is son-in-law, so he knows the guy pretty well. That should be a pretty good move on their half, and I don't expect them to be stopping here. Another weird story that just happened was Ricky Rubio playing with the Phoenix Suns. He was just recently traded to Oklahoma City. He has actually been moved again. He is on his way back to Minnesota. They traded him for the 17th pick, which was the big man, Alexei Pokusevski. He's a 7-footer. He's only 185 pounds. He's coming out of Europe. He played really well in the FIBA League. I think he had about 7 points a game, but he did have 3 blocks, which led the entire league. So we'll see how that plays out. These European players are getting much better as they come into the league. So I do like the way that's going for him. Another weird one that just happened was Houston actually traded Robert Covington to Portland, and they got back, surprise, surprise, Trevor Ariza, the guy they let go 2 years ago. So they brought him back, and then 2 days later, they turn around and they trade Trevor Ariza to Detroit for draft picks. I don't know what's going on in Houston. Good luck to you guys. You have 2 superstars that are making $40 million apiece. They don't even want to be there. So I'm not quite sure where that is going to go. We'll have to just keep monitoring that situation. Shame they had to let go of Morey because of some political stuff that happened last year, but he seems to have found a good home. Congratulations all around for him. Moving on. The Lakers have waived Quinn Cook, which seems to be expected. There's a couple $1 million to put towards the cap, get somebody else. And JaVale McGee has decided to opt in on a $4.2 million salary. So I'm happy to see JaVale coming back. We'll have to see what happens with Dwight Howard because he is calling for some money. I don't really know how much money he can threaten on the open market. So I do hope that the Lakers just go ahead and pay him, and let's run it back one more time. Jimmy Butler, out of Miami, has just signed a multi-year deal with a shoe company called Lining. This is a shoe company based out of China. They do have one all-time contract, a lifetime contract, excuse me. That's Dwayne Wade, also from Miami. So we'll have to see what those go for. I saw them online, about $200 shoes. They look futuristic, I guess, to say the least. So you guys take a look for yourself. It's called Lining. Out of China. All right. Speaking of the Miami Heat, Kelly Olynyk has decided to exercise his option. That is a $13.6 million contract. He'll give it one more year with the Heat, see if they can run it back as well, get back to the finals. But I do feel that they are missing a piece. Not quite sure what that piece is yet. It just seems like something is just not enough. And I don't see them getting past Giannis again this year. You knew jerseys coming out, Philly stepping their game up. I just don't see Miami really being that potential leader of the East. So keep your eyes open for that. We'll keep moving forward. As we did talk about earlier, the NBA draft was yesterday. Free agency for players will begin tomorrow, which is the 20th, and on the 22nd, they can actually start signing contracts. So we should have a lot of movement. Come Monday's show, we should see what's going on, and we'll bring you guys right back to what's happening there. In case you missed it, the season does start December 22nd. It'll be a 72-game season as opposed to a normal 82-game season, and they are going to have another one of those play-ins, as they did in the bubble. So the 7th and the 8th will match each other, 9th and the 10th will match each other. Winner of those plays each other, winner of those gets in. That's how that plays out. We'll see how that goes for them. I'm not a big fan of the play-in, but I do understand there's some financial obligations that they need to make to keep paying these players the numbers that they're paying them. On to Caron Butler. You guys don't know, Caron Butler used to play with the Lakers for a year. He played with the Heat as well as a couple other teams. He has actually joined the Miami Heat as an assistant coach under Eric Spoelstra. Currently, he was working at Spectrum Sports in California covering the Lakers games with Big Game James. But now he will be moving on and becoming an assistant coach, so congratulations, good luck to him on that. Another opt-in that we needed to talk about was Mike Conley. Mike Conley has decided to opt in with Utah. I like that move. He did have a sparse season last year, but I think after 1 year playing with Spider Mitchell, I think he'll step it up, and I think they'll be on the right track this year. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it, I will put these up here. But we did get some new jerseys popping off. Phoenix has got their new alternate The Valley jerseys. The Nuggets have dropped their Red City edition jerseys, and the Hornets have debuted their Buzz City jerseys to go along with LaMelo coming in. So that should be a nice little mix-up. You guys tell me in the comments below what you think about those jerseys. Now, we're going to move on to football. So tonight's game is going to be the Arizona Cardinals, led by Kyler Murray, taking on Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. They are up in Seattle. There will be no 12th man. They only got Seattle at 3 points. So it is really just a pick 'em. I like Seattle in this game. I think DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson will have a better all-around game than Hopkins and Kyler Murray. I do like what they're doing down there. He runs the crap out of the football, and we all know Seattle's defense ain't worth a squat this year. So I do see them playing a good game. However, I do see somehow, some way, Russell Wilson finding a way to take it down. I like Seattle in this game. Let's get back to the news. Yeah, that should be a pretty interesting game. Moving on. Now, Nick Foles out of Chicago does not have a fractured hip. Congratulations, Chicago Bears fans. I don't know how much that helps you on one side. The question that I have is, will they go back to Mr. Trubisky now? Now, Mr. Trubisky came in undefeated. They switched over to Nick Foles, which I thought was an inappropriate time, but I did say the same thing about the Tua Tagovailoa situation. This doesn't seem to be working with Nick Foles. I don't know if it's Matt Nagy or if it's the quarterbacks or what's going on there, but I mean, for you to have two different guys, one of these guys is a Super Bowl winner, and neither one of these guys seem to be able to lead their offense to victory, I think that might be a problem with the coaching, and he's supposed to be an offensive mind. So that's very, very awkward to me that he's not able to get these guys over the hump. Chicago's got a fantastic defense. We'll have to see what they do, but the question is, do you think they should go back to Mr. Trubisky? You guys let me know in the comments below. Moving on, the New York Jets' Joe Flacco, quarterback, he is going to be getting the starting nod this weekend against my Los Angeles San Diego Chargers. We'll see how that plays out for the Jets because they are hemorrhaging. He looked good last weekend when he came in, so I do give him a big shout out. Mr. Darnold just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get it done in this league. He seems to be one of those backup guys that will have a long career, but he'll always just be a backup. Sorry to say that to you, sir, but I'm just going off of what I see on the field. The Dolphins and Jordan Howard have agreed to part ways. He is one of their running backs. You know, Miami does running back by committee. They've let this one go. He had 27 carries on the season, but 4 touchdowns with that, only 33 yards. Not very productive as far as yardage. He does seem to be able to move the chains, though. Getting 4 touchdowns, that's always a big deal. I look for him to land someplace, maybe an LA Chargers. I could see that happening. Possibly maybe an LA Rams. He'll probably go to a warmer climate since he's coming out of Miami. We'll keep a close eye on that. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders, where I am, they are going through a hell of a COVID problem. Okay, this Rona is taking control of the entire team. They've got 11 different players that have just popped onto their COVID reserve list. 8 of these guys are starters. Now, one guy actually did catch it. His name was Clelin Ferrell, their DN. He was one that actually does have it. Everybody else is on there due to contact tracing. So over the next couple of days, they just have to test negative for the virus. If they do, they'll be able to play the Sunday game. But chances are that game is probably going to end up getting postponed. And I can see some heavy fines being levied out to the Raiders if they look to be like they are not caring about the virus. This is not their first ride on this pony. Earlier this season, they've already been forfeited a draft pick, plus had to pay, I think it was $500,000 for the team, $150,000 for the coach, John Gruden, for not wearing his mask, violating all kind of violations, I guess is the best way to say it, on a Monday Night Football. So it is what it is. And because of this, all teams now will have to go into intensive protocols for the remainder of the season. Fun fact for you, 28 teams out of 32 have all had some form of COVID hit their roster. 4 teams. I looked for it. I can't find what 4 teams they are. I would be very excited to know who are the 4 teams that have not been hit by COVID. What is it that they're doing that the other teams are not doing, because there's only 4 of them. Pretty interesting. So this will basically mean that any meetings that they have from now on will have to be held virtually or in a large space. So if it's not a big facility where everybody can social distance, 53 guys plus the training team, which is another 5-6 guys plus all the coaches, we're talking maybe 70, 80 guys. They need a facility that big, otherwise it needs to be a virtual meeting. All masks are now mandated even during practice. All face shields are mandated now during practice. So that's what's happening in the league. You know they don't want to have to bump anything back. It's too hard to do that with the NFL because you only play once a week. So we'll see what happens. Las Vegas Raiders, come on, let's get it together. You got a good team. Let's not fail this, okay? Teddy Bridgewater from the Carolina Panthers. He is unlikely to play this weekend due to a sprained MCL that he suffered in last week's game. Their backup quarterback situation does not look good. They're playing Detroit. That's a 50-50 swing, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Good luck, man. I mean, you know, this has been a weird year. I feel bad for the NFL players because they didn't have any training camp, but injuries are part of the game, so you got to run with it. You know, they've already been missing McCaffrey. It doesn't sound like he'll be back either, so McCaffrey and Bridgewater down. Good luck trying to get that win out there in Detroit. Moving on to the good old MLB. Biggest story of the week so far, Robinson Cano, out of the Mets, second baseman. He has been suspended for all of next season for testing positive on a PED test. This is his second stint of doing this. It is a product called stanozolol. I hope I said that right. $24 million is what he's going to have to forfeit for the year. He had the same problem in 2018. He had to go through 80 games, so now it's 160, and then I believe the third time is you're out of the league. So, man, is it worth it for $24 million? All the time I used to hate Stephen A. Smith off of ESPN saying, stay off the weed. But for $24 million, yeah, stay off whatever it is that you own, bro. You just lost $24 million. Can I get some of that? I'll come play second base, man. I can't move that fast. You're going to probably have to bring somebody else in. I'll take a little bit, just a little bit. Nonetheless, Theo Epstein from the Cubs, he has now stepped down as president. Jed Hoyer is going to take his place. I don't know if this is the end for Theo Epstein. I do see him going someplace else. He's probably just bored. being at the Cubs organization, but he did lead them to a World Series. So good for him. Padres right-hander Mike Clevenger, he's going to have Tommy John surgery. He's going to miss this season. He just signed a 2-year deal worth $11.5 million. So he'll get the money, but the Tommy John surgery, it seems to work, but you do have to miss a whole season for that. Dodgers, Andrew Friedman wins Executive of the Year. If you guys didn't hear about that, he has been with the Dodgers since 2014. They've gone to the World Series 3 out of the last 4 years and finally took it down. So congratulations to him. The Atlanta Braves have now signed left-hander, Drew Smiley. They got him for a 1-year, $11 million deal. He spent 2020 with the Giants. He had a 3.42 ERA and 26 and a third, but he throws a good ball. So I think that's a good pickup for Atlanta. We'll see what happens with that. Hall of Fame ballots have gone out this year. Okay, now question for you: do you think any of the players from the steroid era are going to actually make the ballot? You know, Bonds and a couple of these guys are on that list still haven't been picked. I personally would like to see Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. It is what it is. So that's that. One last little off-topic thing that we're going to talk about. I don't know if you guys know who the ex-rapper Shine is. He used to be the guy who sounds like Biggie. He went to prison for like 14 years over a shooting situation. This man is now taking over the House of Representatives in the country of Belize. So congratulations to you on that, man. That's very awesome. Way to change your life around and do something positive with it. If you guys need something to watch today, we do have the Thursday night game as we talked about earlier. But don't forget that we got the RSM Classic this weekend for all my good golf fans. The RSM will be happening this week. All 156 players will actually be going because they just had the Masters last weekend. So they'll just stay in Georgia. It's a nice course, man. It's a really nice course. If you guys are some good golf fans, make sure you check that out. That should be nice this weekend. Well, that is all that we have for the show today. I want to thank you guys all so much for checking us out today. Be sure to check back here tomorrow. We'll have another show for you. Thank you so much. I am the Legend Crosby. This is Legends Never Die. We'll see you next time.